All right. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. So we were at the part where we need to know how are we going to select and find good contracts, okay? First of all, when we're here on contracting, and once we click on contracting, we're gonna click on contract opportunities. And after that, we have a couple of filters that we discussed. We're gonna select. Notice type goes to notice type that is also like a contract type, and we'll only do solicitation and combined synopsis or solicitation. So we have that selected. Once we're done with that, we're gonna select the set aside. That is our company. And because we're a total small business, it is going to be a total small business set aside. Afterwards, we have everything else is set. Now, there are two ways we can do select for good contracts, or we can find out good contracts. Number one is here where we have the product or service information. We can select NAICS codes. So you're supposed to use various NAICS codes that would be provided to you in order to find contracts. And let me go ahead and open that file. Okay, so there are a couple NAICS codes that we use in the start, and those are like security guard, security system, landscaping, janitorial services, carpet, waste removal, solid waste, roofing, concrete. All of these are NAICS codes. So what I'm gonna do is that I have to copy this 6-digit number 561612. All right, then I'm gonna write it 561612. Oh, sorry about that. 612. There we go. So we had security guards pop up. That was basically the main or the work for this kind of NAICS code. So I would recommend doing one NAICS code at a time, because that allows you to go through everything carefully and does not jumble up everything. So when you start going through it, the first thing that you're going to see is the title. The title says a lot about what kind of contract is it. Is it something that we can work on? Is it something that we would need to skip? For example, if you're doing, let's do something like roofing, yeah, or plumbing, heating. Let's do something like that. Okay, so gotta look for thing. Here we go. Paste. Here we go. Okay, so what if the title here says, it already says it, bridge rehab construction. What about it says that it is a dam construction, like a whole dam wall or a whole dam gate? You already know how big that is, right? If it says aircraft repair or aircraft building or shipbuilding, all those kind of titles, they already show that these kind of contracts, they're huge. They won't be for a small business set aside. All right. So first thing that we're going to look at is the title of the contract, because that would give us an idea if you want to open this up or not. First thing's title. Second is I will look at the date offers due. Always remember that the date offers due should be at least 6 to 7 days away. And these are 6 to 7 business days. For example, if this is July 7 and today is 24th, so what are we going to do? We need to see through our calendar, it already shows that it is 6 to 7 days away. So what do I mean by 6 to 7 days? That it has to be 6 to 7 business days away. That means you have to take out Saturday, Sundays out of this whole time, and whatever you're left with should be 5, 6, 7 days. Why are we looking for 5, 6, 7 days? Because if we need a site visit, you would need to talk to vendors, go through documents, like complete the whole process, and then be able to submit the contract. And in order to complete the whole process, you need at least 6 to 7 days. In some cases, 5 days would be enough, but that depends on each and every contract. So for example, this says Cage's Mill Bridge Rehab Construction, and it is for a small business. July 7 is far, so that's fine as well. Notice type is combined synopsis. So bridge is a kind of red flag, but what if it's a small bridge like in a park or something? So always keep opening anything that you like in that, because once we're done with all of these, like once I'm done going through the whole page, then I would start going through them. Okay. Now we have fabrication, delivery, installation of full scale static display, blah, blah, blah. July 10. So yeah, this is something that we might be able to, but I'm not sure. So we also have to see once you have a great deal of information about how to find vendors and everything, you would know that is this a type of a contract that I would be able to find the vendors for. If you're confused that I would not be able to find a vendor, always do quick search. Like go to Google, search for the vendors in that area, see if they are available or not. Okay. Now here, exterior painting, building, July 2nd. So almost 6 days, but not very good, but still fine. Protective coatings, okay, that sounds fine. Now, there's one thing that you need to remember. BPA stands for Blanket Purchase Agreement, okay? Blanket Purchase Agreement is basically an agreement, like you sign a blank contract in which the government would ask you to do multiple contracts, multiple buildings, anything like that under that contract. So why do we do not get into those right now is because we are trying to be staying in the smaller kind of contracts, and BPAs, blanket purchase agreements, they're like huge contracts, millions dollars, and our vendors, they don't know when is the work going to be required and how much is the work going to be required. So there's a probability that we would not get a good quote. Okay. So that is like a main reason that we do not get into BPAs yet. Okay, so write it down. BPA stands for blanket purchase agreement, and it is like a single contract under which the government or federal client can ask you to do multiple contracts anytime throughout the year or whatever period of performance they signed with you. They would ask you to do multiple of these contracts over the year. Okay. Without any, prior instruction. Maybe they would come over and say a month before, yeah, hey, we're gonna need this work done after a month. So that's how it is. Anyways, this was June 19th, so that is already passed. Then we have painting services, does not list anything about when or what painting services. Apart from that, it's June 26th. So we're not going to take a look at that. Then we have July 10, paint exterior of buildings. That is good. Then we have paint munitions building, but that is already passed. June 11, already passed. So again, June 17, already passed. May, already passed. August 30, 2024. So you see, that was all the contracts that were here related to the painting. Okay? So now what am I going to do? I'm going to remove that NAICS code and put in another one. For example, I can use this remediation service. I can put that here. There we go. Okay. So now we have multiple remediation. So remediation is basically removal of any of the dangerous substances, that kind of stuff. Firing range maintenance. So firing range, there are very few vendors for this, but there is no problem in doing these kind of contracts. So we're fine. Let's go through them. June 12th, we're gonna open that in a new tab. Sorry, so that we are able to do it. Oversight support, that is also something we can get into July 1st, and it is 5 days away. So kind of support kind of services can be done, but that means so the support services are good, but let me tell you, support contracts, that basically means that you have to hire like a person to do the job. For example, like KSNO gave out an ad that we want people to do the contract analysis stuff, and that is exactly what they're looking for. So it is more of a like a one-person job. All right. June 26th, no time left, only 2 days, and we're not gonna do that. Then we have armory service. So sometimes the title is not clear enough, but that does not mean that we cannot do it. We're still gonna open that contract. And if you think that you still don't understand, you can always go ahead and um Google it. Okay? July 31st. Oh, that is very far. We can easily do that. July 1st, 5 days. July 29, that is good. We can open that. Okay. So I guess we have enough of the contracts open. Now let's go through them, see what needs to be added, what can we do, what can we skip. The first one, we open this bridge one. So I am not sure if you can do this. That would depend what kind of bridge is it. If it's a very big bridge, like a huge bridge connecting cities, that would be difficult. But if it's a small bridge, like in a park, that would be fine. Sorry about that. Okay. So now there are a couple things that you have to take a look at when you're going through these parts. General information, you should see the contract opportunity type, that it should be combined synopsis or solicitation. Date of review, we already saw that, it's July 7th, we still have time. These 2 dates, you don't need to worry about that. Then we have set aside, that is total small business. Sometimes they do not put a set aside there. In that case, you would need to get into the document in order to see it, okay? Now the next code we added was for painting. So of course, it is written here, place of performance where the work is to be done. It is Poland, IN. So IN stands for Indiana. Yeah. Now these are the documents that are, linked with this contract. You would need to go through them. You would need to take a look at them to understand what the contract is about, what are they asking for, all that kind of stuff. Okay. So tail flash static display painting. I told you that this is the kind of contract we would be not be possibly able to find vendors for, because this is more kind of a technical work. And if you saw the description clearly, it meant that, yeah, you have to fabricate that, you have to make, deliver, and then install a display that is going to represent aircraft. Okay, so you see that this is a aircraft display. So we already know that this is, first of all, we're not going to be able to find vendors for this. Second, this might be too big. So we're just going to cross that out. Then we have exterior painting miscellaneous buildings. First, it was published in 23rd May, then July, oh sorry, then June 17th. So publish this date sometimes is important. For example, if a contract was published in 2024, I would never recommend you to do it. Why? Because it's already like 7 months past that time, and already many companies have already gone through it. They are already working on it. They would be gone through multiple site visits. So, we're far behind. We're lagging in that competition. So it is better to skip the contract that were published very late, like very earlier in the time. So the date offers due was June 23rd, and then they changed it to July 1st. Okay. So that means June 23rd, it was like kind of yesterday. So I would recommend not to do this contest. Let me tell you the reason. And I want you to write that stuff down. Okay. So there's a thing called site visit. Okay. You can see it is written here, site visit. So what is a site visit? Site visit is basically, for example, you have to do a painting contract. Okay. Let's suppose they wanted to get painting done for White House in Washington, D.C. Okay. Now, what do they did that the contract was due like late, maybe let's think about July 30. Okay. The contract is due in July 30. And they said that if anyone want to go there to the White House or to the building that we need to paint, they can go there on this date. Let's suppose they can go there on July 1st and take a look at everything. Okay. So that is called a site visit, where you go to the location, you take a look at everything, you measure everything, and you understand everything, so that the vendor that is going to go there, obviously we're not going to go there, it is the vendor that is actually going to perform the work, that is going to provide us with a quote. That person is required to go on the site, take a look at everything, measure everything, and then give us an accurate quote. Okay. That is called a site visit. Now, why did I say we cannot do this contract? First, the thing is that this contract was due on June 23rd. That was yesterday. So that means everything regarding this contract is already done. Most probably. Site visits would be already done. Question and answers should be already done. So we are again kind of lagging here. Okay. Now, when reading the description part is very important. This contract had no description at all. It was just a single line. That's why we did not go into it. This has a description, so let's go through it. Amendment is basically changes in the contract. The changes can be anything. They might have added a line to the statement of work. They might have given a new site visit date. They might have added a new what's it called, attachment, anything possible. Any possible changes in the contract would be called amendment, and they would post it here on the sam.gov. Okay. So this amendment 2, it says that amendment 2 was done in order to post sign-in sheet for the site visit. What is a sign-in sheet? So basically, sign-in sheet is like an attendance when you go to the site visit. The person that is going to kind of escort you there, show you around, they take attendance, like who's there here, what company are they with, that kind of details. Okay. So if a sign-in sheet is already uploaded as an amendment, don't you think the site visit is already passed, right? So that gives us an idea. Without even going into the contract, I already know that site visit is already done. Okay. So let me tell you about site visits. Site visits have to be done at any cost. If a vendor does not do a site visit, we do not take quotes from that vendor. Okay. Site visits have to be done. That is the kind of, the final statement. So if the site visit is already passed, that means the vendor cannot go there and they would not be able to attend the site visit because it's already passed. And that means they would not be able to give us an accurate quote. You cannot give an accurate quote of something that you have not seen, right? That you have not measured. What if the walls that have to be painted have some damage in it? Like there are holes, there are broken ceiling, whatever. And we have to repair that as well. And it was not mentioned in the contracts, or the pictures they pasted or uploaded were not clear enough to show that. So all of these things matter. That is why we make site visits very, 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 very important and mandatory. So whenever you see description and it says like this, that the site visit sign-in sheet is uploaded and due date is extended, that means the contract cannot be done because site visit is already passed. But let's just go through it for the sake of knowledge. Amendment 1 was done to post statement of work, so that is old. They just posted what needs to be done. Period of performance. Period of performance is basically the time they're allowing you to complete the work in. Okay, in this case, 7 to 12. That means about half a year. Okay, 6 months in total. They're giving you 6 months to complete this work. For other contracts like cleaning and landscaping, some other work, sometimes they give you like a longer period. For example, they would say that the period of performance is 1 base year and 4 option years. Okay. Please write everything down, whatever I'm saying, because these are very important points and you would be dealing with these every day when you're going through the contracts. So if a period of performance says 1 base year and 4 option years instead of months, then that means that when this contract is awarded, it would be awarded for one year first. That is called base year. Okay. That is like, for example, base year is a like a confirmed year you would be getting the work for. Okay, in case you have been awarded, for example, KSNL got a contract and the period of performance that we gave the quote for was 1 base year and 4 option years, right? So that means if we get awarded, first we will get the contract for the base year. All right. Once we have completed the base year and the government likes or they think our work is satisfactory, they would update the contract 1 year, and that is called option year. And if they continue to like our work, then we have to, or if they like our work, they can go ahead and extend it to another option year. Okay, so those are called option years. Okay, base year is the one you're going to get the contract for. Option years are given if the government finds your work satisfactory. Okay, now there's something important here, that is the magnitude. So what is the magnitude actually? So basically when the government is like or the client is formulating a contract, they do a market research. They check if what would be the budget for this contract, or how much range would this contract be completed. That is called the magnitude. Okay? Magnitude, that means this contract is supposed to be completed in $100,000 to $250,000. Now, write it down that our company is right now doing contracts that are below 150K. Okay? 150K. That would be, so it is 100,000, it would be 150,000. Okay? So this range, in this range, 150,000 is near the minimum. Most of the times, of course, whenever you have a range, you have the probability of a mid range. Okay. So for the 100,000 to 250,000, the mid range would be about 175 something. All right. So what I'm trying to say is that even if we do this contract, like if we start to work on it, when the vendor would give you a quote, that would be above 150K. So we already know that this contract would be out of our range. So always remember that we can do contracts that are between 150K below. Okay. Sometimes we do contracts that are in this range, but you would need to go ahead, ask Ma'am Sana about it, that are we going to be doing these contracts or not? All right. Now, questions cutoff. Basically, this is called question cutoff is basically question and answers due date. So why do they have a due date? So that all the companies would go ahead and ask the questions by this date, so that no questions are left unanswered for. Once this question and answer date is passed, after that they would go ahead and upload all the question and answers. All right. So yeah, you need to see when you're finding a contract, you need to see if the question and answer date is available. And this one says 13 June, so that is already passed. But we already saw we are not going to do this contract because the site visit was already done. Now, when the site visit date is given, it says that they are encouraged to perform site visit at any time. Site visit date is 10 a.m. Tuesday, June 3rd. Okay, so June 3rd was the site visit date. That is like almost 20 days. Yeah, almost 21 days prior. So that is long gone. That means this contract cannot be done because the site visit is already done. Now here they've given site visit date, time, and the address. And then they've said no phone calls accepted. Let's take a look at the attachments, okay? These are the ones that you have to go through in order to understand the contract to see if you can do it or not. This number, this is called notice ID. So notice ID is basically a special or unique number, identity number for a contract, this one. If you don't have the link for the contract, you forgot how did you find it and all that, but you have the notice ID. You can always copy the notice ID and paste it in the search bar and it would give you the contract. All right. That is why it is important, because it shows you which contract are we talking about. Now, so means solicitation, then the notice ID, AMD means amendment number 2. So we saw what was amendment 2 containing the site visit sign-in sheet, that is this, as well as they extended the due date. Okay. Then we have AMD 1, that means amendment 1. Then we have SOW. SOW stands for statement of work. This here that does not say anything apart from SO and notice ID. This is called a solicitation document. This is the document that we usually get into to find various contracts. Sorry, to find if we can do a contract or not. There are lots of, criteria that we need to fulfill, and that we do in this specific document because it has all the rules and laws and everything that applies to this contract. So wage determination is basically a list of all the hourly rates of the various occupations that are practiced in US. So that's that. We have primary point of contact. This is the person that you would talk to if you do not have some details or you want to ask questions. Again, same notice ID, you have to note it down. Then you have to see the type solicitation, that's fine. Then the due date, that is July 9, that's fine. Then we have to see the set aside, that is small business, that's fine too. Next code, that's fine too. Place of performance. They're giving you details about everything. Now, you see this word IDIQ, write it down. It means indefinite amount and indefinite quantity. Okay? So, what does indefinite amount and indefinite quantity means? Basically, what we talked about BPA, the blanket purchase agreement, that it was an empty or a blank contract that you sign and the government could ask you to do various buildings or various work under the same contract at various times throughout the year. IDIQ is completely same, indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity. Okay? In this kind of contract, again, they will ask you to do multiple work under the same contract. And right now, we're not doing IDIQs as well because of various reasons that we discussed with the BPA. We would be getting into these afterwards, but not right now. Right now, we do not do IDIQ or blanket purchase agreement contracts because the vendor does not know how much work is he gonna do. So he does not give you a good pricing. Cancelled. So you see how we're dropping the contracts. The first one was dropped because the site visit was already done. This one is dropped because the contract was IDIQ. Exterior of buildings, notice ID, date of is due July 10, that's fine. Then we have total small business, that's fine too. And a long description that we're gonna go through. So they're giving you details on what we have to do, what the work is, location, and then they're giving you the magnitude, 100,000 to 250,000. What was our preferred, what our criteria magnitude? That was 150K. All right. So if you go ahead and ask Ma'am Sena and if she tells you to continue with this work, you can. Otherwise, you drop this contract because of the magnitude. Now we have next code set aside. Project is set aside 100% for total small business. That's fine. Now you see this line that says size standard is 19 million. What is a size standard? So they say that this contract is for a small business. Okay. So how do we know what companies are small business or not? You know, at what range would you be considered a small business? So size standard is basically the maximum annual revenue that you're allowed to have in your previous years that makes you a small business. In this case, a company should have less than 19 million annual revenue to be considered a small business for this contract. Our company's annual revenue is less than 2 million. So that means we are good to go. We are not exceeding 19 million. So we are still a small business for this contract and we can do it. most of the times the size standard is good for us. Like we don't need to worry about. You just need to know what this is. Now, site visit date is given. That says an organized site visit has been scheduled. See the solicitation, this part for all the details. So site visit is scheduled, but they have not given you the date right here. That means you need to go to the document and see where the site visit details are given. After that, just general details. Then we have the point of contact here. This is the contact. Again, this is a document that would have all the important details like regarding to law, site visit, question and answers. The site visit date would be in this document. Then we have project specifications, also called statement of work. Bid schedule, it's basically the pricing sheet. Like how are you gonna give the client a quote? Do they want any breakdown? Like maybe they want the labor cost separate, they want the material cost separate, and they want the overhead separate. So anything is possible. Sometimes they give you a bid schedule sheet or a price schedule sheet, but sometimes they don't give you that. And obviously, when the vendor gives you a price, they use their own format. Okay, so that means we can do this contract if Memsana approves the magnitude. Then we have firing range maintenance. I informed you that this is also something that has lesser vendors. It was uploaded April. That is too far. And it was updated. It was actually due on May 9, then July 11. So May 9 was the due date for this. That means it was like 2 months before. And that means many companies would be already working on it. Okay. But the main thing that we're concerned with is that is the site visit available or not? Okay. So all of these are general details. Then we have this detail saying that issuing a combined synopsis solicitation for the purpose of awarding a firm fixed contract. Now, what is a firm fixed price contract? It is a kind of contract. For example, we were going to do this contract for 50,000. Okay, that's what our vendor said, that we can complete this contract in 50,000. So, of course, we have not started the work, and that is an estimate. Now, when we go ahead and submit the 50,000 price to the client, and let's suppose we get awarded. And after getting awarded, the vendor goes there, look at everything again, and says, oh no, I would not be able to do it in 50,000. I would need an extra $2,000-3,000 to complete it. Okay. So in that case, that is not possible because it was a firm fixed price contract. That means whatever you have submitted, you can never alter it. Okay. Not even a single dollar up. So it is important whenever there's a firm fixed contract, you need to make sure that the price that the vendor is giving is accurate. All right. So there are two types of contracts. One is firm fixed price. The other one is kind of it's hour and material stuff. In that case, what happens? You give the price for the materials and you give your hourly rate. So the final invoice or the final payment would depend on how many hours did you work and what was the material cost. Okay. So that is various. Like it would be varying on every day, how many hours they worked on that stuff. Related to that, as compared to that, in firm fixed, you can do as many hours you want and still get paid the same because you give a firm fixed price. Next contract, firing range maintenance. I guess we opened it twice. So Oversight support services. I told you that this is going to be more like person job, but there are no details given. Okay, yeah, one more thing that I want to show you. So you see in up till now, all of the contracts has attachments. Okay, but sometimes the attachments are not given. Instead, a link is given like this. Okay, so if I open this link, it would take me to another page that would have. Okay, so right now it is asking for an ID. Okay, we do have an ID, but I don't have it right now, so I'm not going to be able to use it, but I'm just showing you. So what it does, it would open up this page, and at the end of the page, there would be attachments given. Okay. So in this case, what are they doing? That different websites have connected to work on this contract. So this website is, referring us to the other website where the attachments are given, that kind of stuff. There are multiple websites like these. Like, if you want to write it down, there is Marketplace, Union Marketplace, Unisun Marketplace. Then there is Fed Connect. Then there is PIEE. So you would be taking a look at those whenever they show up. Forcom Armory, St. Louis, August 5. Okay, that's good. Remediation services. Again, so I would recommend you to read the whole thing. That way you would start to understand various terms and everything. So if you don't understand a term, always Google it so that you are able to understand it. Okay? Now, if I'm going through it, it says the size standard is 1,050 employees. That means a small company for this contract would be someone that has less than 1,050 employees. Okay. Then same thing, general things that you will be reading to understand it. Okay. Now again, a link is given. And what is this? Marketplace Unison, the one that I just told you about. Well, I'll just show you opening it. So these are the line items, basically. The one that we were talking about. See, base period of performance, that means base year. That is 2025 to 2026. Then we have option 1, that means option year 1, 2026 to 27. Option year 2, 2027 to 2028. And goes on. Okay, that is called base year and option years. Here they're written. Base and then 4 option year. That means if we get awarded for the base year and they're satisfied by our work, we can be given this opportunity up to 4 years without, bidding again and again on it. जो एक दफा हमने price दे दी, that would be continued. So yeah, here are the attachments and everything. Okay. So site visit date is given 10 July, 10 a.m. Site visit shall fill out this affidavit PDF for each attendee and email it to this person by 5 July. If you fail to register, you will not be allowed to attend the site visit. The location for the site visit will be given at the time of acknowledgement of site visit registration. So what is happening? That this is probably an Air Force base. Let's see. Yeah, Warner Robins is an Air Force base. It is Robins Air Force Base in Georgia. So Air Force Base, they यहाँ भी आप लोगों ने देखा होगा, whenever you go to Kent, you need an ID, right? Same goes there, that if you have to go to a base, whether it's a naval base, it's Coast Guard, it is Air Force Base, you always require access. Okay, so in this case, what do they do? They give you a base access form that you have to fill and send them so that they can, provide you with a base access after doing your background check. There is a specific requirement for site visit. That is that your site visit date should be at least 3 days away. Okay. What did we talk about due date? It should be 6 to 7 days away, whereas the site visit should be 3 days away. Why? Because 3 days means you would need to talk to the vendors, you would need to, get their details to fill and all that so that you could register them. Now, in this case, they have given 2 dates. 10 July, when the vendor is going to go there, and 5 July, when the registration is due. So in this case, 5 July should be 3 days away from the date you're finding the contract on. Okay? Today's 24th, so we're a good deal away from this. So we're fine. We can do this contract. But for example, I found it on 3rd July. That would not be good because I would not be able to find the vendors in one day and then register them. And if we do not register, what did they say? You will not be allowed to attend the site visit. Okay? So remember, if a site visit date is given without any registration date, site visit date should be 3 days away. If a site visit registration date is given, that should be 3 days away. Got it? And again, various documents, we can do this contract, that's good. And then we have asbestos, July 29, that's good. Small business place of performance is not given. But if you see this at Indiana Dunes National Park, so that means it is going to be at that location. Okay, that is all. So what did we understand today? How we're gonna add the NAICS code, then find the contracts, what to look here, and then what are the details that we have to look at when we're on this page. Next, we will discuss in the next session that how to find more kind of unique contracts. Okay? All right. Thank you.